Good morning, good afternoon and good evening from wherever you are in the world. My name is Iike and this is the AMS2 Community Cup for the 2024 season. We are nearing the end of this frankly astonishingly exciting season of communities battling it out for the top step of the podium. Different rules have been applied that have had their way with the championship as well. However, here we are at round 7 of 8 with the Metal Morrow P3s at Ibarra. Now, there is a better name for Ibarra. I can't pronounce it, and I don't think I ever will do. But we are here, we are in the qualifying session. You have not missed an ounce of the action. It was just the drivers getting their tyres very much warmed up on this damp but drying track. It's a very difficult circumstance for the drivers to have to be dealing with. No times on the board as yet, but the first of the drivers so far is Minimus to get a reliable time at least. Nessie for the NRT team is second across the line. It's going to be Chrissy H soon after that, with Tex from Curb Clippers setting the very early pace. Wait for that start-finish line, there we go. A big challenge for Bluefear already. Bluefear not, or 10 tenths not in their element tonight, it seems. If you're in the chat, if you are able to hear me, do sound off and let me know who it is you're cheering for tonight. Who do we need to keep an eye on? I mean, the times are incredibly close at up and down the field. Seems to be groupings of pace, but for tonight especially, it's going to be an evening of the last car across the line will be fastest. It will not surprise you in the slightest that this is based on a real-life track. The Autodromo Internacional Jose Tobar. No idea if I got that anywhere close to right. I'm very sorry to those who may be offended. 3.65 kilometre track with sweeping right-handers as well as a very intricate infield section through Sector 2. Lots of on and off camber curves to drive our drivers tonight to their absolute limit, both of their nerves and of these cars' performance. Just waiting for everybody to get a proper lap on the board. This is actually a reduced size track, as is often the case with these classic circuits. The original circuit was a mighty 10 kilometers and has since been closed to allow those sections of the track to be used as public highway for the drivers, for the inhabitants of the surrounding villages to be able to get to their homes. So once again, racing losing out because people decide that they want to live near there. Joking, of course, in that case. But with about half the qualifying completed, we haven't even touched on the beautiful new UI that we have tonight. Let's just very quickly see if this... there's no point in doing that, is there? Halfway through this qualifying session, you can see Tex for the Curb Clippers team has taken that provisional pole positions. Cephalor for the SSR team expected to be quite up there tonight, as these cars have quite a bit in common with their home cars of the Formula cars. as Dustin goes right to the very top with a new fastest time of 1:22.898 as the track starts to dry out and come to all of the drivers. Running down the rest of the top 10, just to give you a quick overlay. Cephalon now in third, Loz Archer running as an independent tonight in fourth position, Frano for AMSU in fifth, sixth is Nessie for the NRT team, Michelle Giamaroni in seventh, eighth is Roy 33 and now provisionally immediately deposed by Dazad for 10 tenths, and Pete M, the record holder here in these cars, currently sitting in 10th position, so more expected from that car in 10th position. Click the right one, there we go. Plenty of time left, and again the track is only going to get quicker, so who is on a fast one at the moment? Frano is going quicker than they have gone before by the tune of 2 tenths as Michelle Giamaroni goes faster. Frano, meanwhile, there we go, is through the second sector faster than he's gone before and goes to the top. Michelle Giamaroni deposed, although they have the fastest second sector. Frano nailed the first sector and got a 4/10 gap to the rest of the field through that high speed first part of the lap. Is running faster at the moment. Looks as though not many times coming in at the moment, although Tex has just done a fastest sector 2. He's going to come out of the final hairpin. Hopefully he's got the throttle down. This could be potentially a second position all the way to the top for Tex. For Curb Clippers, great to see the Jerseyan. Oh, I'm going to get that wrong. Running at the top of the timing screens. Looks as though everybody else seems to be burning their tyres down a little bit excessively. There are some faster laps going in beautifully around for Tex there. Not much going on as far as the fastest laps are concerned, though, peculiarly. I would expect the drivers to be... Yeah, Frano goes top by not going faster per se, but perhaps a bit more consistent on the old split times there. The fastest final sector apparently for Michelle Giamaroni, which is holding true at the moment. Just trying to see where the speed's coming from at this point in the proceedings. Everybody but Tom Goodwrench out on track at the moment. Has Tom given up for this session? And Tex looks like they're going quicker again. First sector 2/10 up on the previous. However, this time it is... Oh, actually, Frano might go to the top. There he goes. Pete M to the top of the timing screens with only a couple of minutes left to go. Pulls out a blinder 121.828, which you can now see thanks to the new screens and tower that we have for the new 1.6 update of AMS2. Absolutely fantastic to see the support being given to the UI and all of the stability and driving improvements that Razer have been able to push out with this massive overhaul of what can trace its roots back to Project Cars 2 and the original R Factor if you go far enough back. Interestingly, good time coming from Andy Moore here. There could be a position change coming as he goes even faster in Sector 2. This is an incredibly quick lap coming from the currently 4th place driver. It could be enough for second. It could be enough for the top of the timing screen. Second for now with only a gap of 0.03 of a second. Good grief, I'll put my teeth in and try again, shan't I? Still the fastest sector. No, in fact, the fastest last sector now belongs to a trained monkey. What a good name for the Noobs Gaming team. But sitting in 11th at the moment, will go no higher for the time being. What's going on track then? Frano is going a little faster, but not been able to see the second split yet to see if there's anything more. PM is going on another faster lap. Ever so slightly quicker. PM is the world record holder. It's not surprising to see this, but 1:21.744. 2 minutes left in the qualifying. Oh no, qualifying is now complete. So PM will get another lap to be able to circulate. Frano is going to take the checkered flag as well. Tex, let's have a quick look at his splits. He's a little bit down, but goes to second. He's down in the first sector, but retrieved all of that pace in the last 2 sectors. Ooh. Is it possible to show the remaining time? Not anymore, it's not, because I didn't know what the they had kind of moved things around with the new update. Actually, I wonder if I can... I'm going to do some live adjustments to the streaming overlay. We do have the time to be able to make this happen, so no reason not to. Let me see if I can fit all of that. There we go, that makes a bit more sense, doesn't it? However, time remaining is going to be very difficult. You're going to have to... I will, at some point, create a widget that works through SimHub, much like the driver tracker that I've created before. I will make something that works for that. But for the time being, we have much more excitement to be taking in, as we have the first qualifying session of the 1.6 era of AMS2 completed, with Pete M taking the pole position for MVRC. Tex pulling up alongside him in second position. Andy Moore will be on the second row of the grid with Frano alongside. All different teams so far. First of the drivers to have any kind of backup in this race will be the Curb Clippers in the form of Grandpa Bear in 5th position. Cephalor for SSR will start from 6th position, with Michel Gironi for the RRC cars in 7th. Loz Archer, driving as an independent this evening, will start from 8th, with 9th being Minimus for the MVRC team. Alpha Signals for SRGP will round out the top 10, with Dustin for the SSR team in 11th, and rounding out our 5th row of the grid. A Trained Monkey, fastest final sector for the Noobs Gaming car, so a car to watch out for, but only 12th position as far as qualifying was concerned. Nessie will start from 13th, with Blue Fear for 10/10ths in 14th. I believe that's the first time we've seen the 10/10ths name pop up this evening. That is absolutely correct. 15th position for Chrissy H for the NRT team. AMSU, it's Raceler in 16th. 17th for Dazad. I don't know why I can't pronounce that. With Tom Goodwrench in 18th position overall. Rodano will start from 19th for RRC, with Jerry for SRGP starting from 20th. 21st will be Roy33NL, who is also the gentleman that we have to thank for the stability of the server tonight. And obviously we don't talk about the final driver on the grid there. That is for broadcasting purposes only. Let's have a quick look and see how the new UI is looking at the moment. It's looking alright. A little bit of overlap and not quite happy with all of that, but hey, we'll take it. So, sound off in the chat then. Who are you supporting? Who are you waiting for to show their true pace? What do you think the strategies are going to be tonight? And can anybody take the fight to the MVRC cars, and Pete M especially? It's going to be a dry and hot race for our 21 car grid. And I, for one, cannot wait. And it is a torrential downpour that awaits us in this penultimate round. You can hear and see the visual clarity. Actually, you might not be able to. I can see it on my ultra wide, it's great. Yeah, you can see it, it's fine. the beautiful visual clarity of the new 1.6 update for Automobilista 2. All the drivers will be readying up, but they'll all have to wait for me. Give the drivers a minute to get everything sorted. Remember, there will be no warm-up lap. There will be no patience or waiting between this screen and when the race starts. So it's going to be a frantic dive towards turn 1 in these incredibly treacherous conditions. The rain may well fade, but the water is going to stay on the track, and with the new updates that have come to the new version of Automobilista 2, the more advanced physics of these wet tyres and wet lines are going to play a critical role in working out strategy and racing lines, and just getting any kind of pace out of the cars. And that is the sign that we are about ready to go. It was a very, very good start from Tex. Was that a jump start? In fact, we don't see anything come up as yet. Race control seems to be all right. PM has dropped right back in the field, back to 4th position. But it's a very clean start from all concerned. No big braking zones as yet. Let's jump on board and see what the spray looks like. Very, very realistic and sensible amount of spray going on here. Big look around the outside for Trained Monkey, keeping off the racing line. Wet lines being the ideal for the day, and you can see drivers taking the traditional dry line, getting aquaplaning on their tyres, because that's where the rubbered line is. That's not where the grip's going to be today. Trained Monkey doing his very best to hold on to what is now 19th position after being stuck on the outside of that tight right-hander. But it's looking very, very pretty, and it's looking cushy for the top 3 at the moment. Tex, Frano and Pete M. Pete M making his way past the SSR car of Dustin, and now hunting for that 2nd position that he lost off the line. This is the view over the rear spoiler of Frano. And what a terrifying thing to see. It's going to be a look up the outside, but Pete M has to give best. Gets to the inside. This is going to be side by side into the first real braking zone. And Frano giving best to Pete M, trying to get back onto the grippy part of the circuit, i.e. not the racing line. And now Frano under pressure from Dustin. It looks like, yes, is Dustin, just looking for the opposite side of the car. Shared liveries for today, as there weren't enough livery slots for the amount of communities that we have in the race today. Such is the popularity of the AMS2 Community Cup. But Tex now with a 2-second lead over Pete M is going to have his work cut out trying to keep that gap to the cars behind. Frano, meanwhile, seems like the cork in the bottle at the moment, but how long that will be the case for, we have to wait and see. as further down the pack, everybody's a little bit spread out, but that's a big look by Andy Moore. Or by Michel Giamaroni on Andy Moore. In fact, great look up the inside on that long straight down towards turn 1 and 2. Gets it all tucked up at the apex and will be able to drive away ever so slightly. It's all getting very, very close further down the field here. Let me just get this. Yeah, there we go. So once again, Nessie trying to get into that top 10 for the NRT team. Pushing Minimus around for MVRC. It's going to be a brave look if there is any to be made as the spray gets kicked up off of the leading cars. Thankfully, the drivers a little bit more able to see than in some other sims. But it seems as though we have a couple of corks in the bottle at the moment. Tex has fallen back in the fight over the lead. He was that could be as simple as a mistake and drifting out wide, unfortunately. But it's all extremely close at the moment. Tex with the SSR driver of Dustin ahead, using the outside line, which could invite an attack from Frano behind, but it would be a brave choice to try and attack there. Chrissy H, meanwhile, on the defensive once again. As we were saying, various bouts of speed for all the drivers here, and all of the drivers trying to explore in this brave new world of 1.6 AMS2 where the grip is, where the speed is on this wet track. It's still raining, and it looks as though it's not going to stop in the course of this race so far. A very warm track, 33 degrees. There's a big look up the inside from Chrissy H on Jerry for SRGP. Space was given. That's very respectful of both of them, but now it's an opportunity for a Train Monkey to look up the inside, but that's not going to work. It would work in the dry, but that middle of the road line, keeping two of the wheels off the rubbered in line, is just keeping Chris H ahead of the Noobs Gamers driver. And once again, taking the outside line, keeping the grip where it is. The Train Monkey will be alongside coming out this corner, but this is really difficult to maintain that fight through the long sweeping right hander and then back to the left, and a little kink left right before the final hairpin to round out the lap. But look at how much time that's given Jerry to just eke some space away as the cars behind fought. The Train Monkey must think that he's got more pace here than the cars around him, but there's not a lot he can do in these inclement conditions where half the track where you would normally use the rubbered in line is just not viable. in these conditions. A new experience for everyone short of those who have driven iRacing at this point. But brilliant common sense by Razor, as always, to take the path of least resistance as far as getting the realism from the track without having to do all of the very, very complicated calculations that iRacing seem to want to do. The effect is rather astounding, with a massive shake-up even in the early stages of this race. It's another big look up the inside for a trained monkey, but it's not going to happen this time. Meanwhile, Michele Giamaroni, having dispatched Andy Moore, now hunting down Cephalor for the 5th place overall. He's the top RRC driver, and he's wanting to get more points for the team. Coming out of the final corner, taking a very, very wide line and cutting back to try and get the straight line speed. He's underneath, has the drag and the aero effect of the car ahead, pulling him along the straights. It's not close enough to be looking for any kind of position as yet. Beautiful perspective from the side of a mountain for our drivers on their 6th lap. 35 minutes to go. P10 is your leader. SSR Dustin for the SSR team 2nd. Tex from a 1st position on the opening lap dropped down to 3rd position at the moment. Doesn't seem to quite have the pace to fight with the lead too, but is gapping Frano for the AMS2 team behind. Cephalor, Giamaroni, Michele Giamaroni goes up the inside. It's a brave, brave look. We've seen this tried and failed before. It's going to fail again, but the door was absolutely there. But the opening was on a very low traction part of the track. It's going to have to be a intelligent move if Michele Giamaroni is going to claim that 5th position. The SSR car is absolutely hooked up at the moment. Defensive line for Cephalor. A wide late apex for Giamaroni. Gets wheel spin on the exit. That's going to slow him down. And now Andy Moore is going to be looking for that next opportunity to gain that position back that he lost a few laps ago. Meanwhile, Nessie in the NRT team versus Dazads in the for 10/10ths. This battle has been slowly grouping together, and just might be the easiest battle that we have to look at today. Meanwhile, 17th again, just for the lower positions, but Rodano hunting Chrissy H for NRT. Chrissy H, look, taking that rubbered in line that is never the right option. Once again, Michele Giamaroni looking, trying to find that opportunity, that way past. Goes to the outside, has the overlap. It's the slightest of touches, but that's enough with how little traction there is to tap the car off to the inside. And now a lot of work for Giamaroni from 6th to 9th, and plenty more work to do to get that position back. Meanwhile, to the final corner, and just behind Giamaroni now, Nessie still hunting down Dazads, and it looks as though Minimus is involved in this fight as well. Dazads the filling in a P3 sandwich at the moment, having to defend and attack in equal measure, although I believe he may have gone for the defensive line of reasoning, looking right around the outside to maintain that position. He's going to do it through turn 3. But how long can the 10/10 driver hold on to that 11th position with Nessie breathing down the neck? It's a big look up the inside again into the second complex of corners. But incredible discipline and class being shown by all of the drivers here in incredibly treacherous conditions. And that is the look that we were expecting. Nessie for NRT using the alternate line nice and wide, now has to stay on the inside to keep that advantage. Dazad has the overlap, is going to get to the place, but are they going to keep it? No, they're going to get run wide. There was space left by Nessie, but that is the position comprehensively lost for Dazad now. Meanwhile, what can Nessie do given the fresh air, relatively fresh air, that he's been offered? How long will it take for him to hunt down Minimus in the MVRC car? Meanwhile, what's going on around the rest of the field? Grandpa Bear hunting Andy Moore now. Andy Moore being held up again ever so slightly by Cephalor here. Once again, the RPM team trying to find their way past other drivers and other teams that have just had a little bit more of the luck come their way. What a good view. I wish we had that camera angle more often. And now Andy Moore, a very seasoned driver here, has a lot of the drivers dropping into the pits. I would say that's for fuel, and it's probably worth taking tyres as well. The rain's still coming down, but it has gotten significantly lighter. You can see a dry line being formed there as Moore tries desperately to cling on to what is now third position with the pit cycle beginning. Looks as though there's still a lot of standing water, but not as much rain as there was, and it looks as though it's starting to perhaps brighten up. And with 28 minutes to go, this is going to become a race of strategy as well as pace through the rest of this race. Beautiful neutral slide there for Andy Moore, who takes the lead of the race just for the moment on pit strategy. Now, what can he do on what will be ever so slightly overheating wet tyres and perhaps not very much fuel left in that tank? The man that he will be wanting to try and leapfrog is the Cephalor car in 7th position, who leaves the pits with space, it looks like. Lots and lots of space to the cars ahead. But not between PM and Frano. That was a pass for position. Looks like Frano got up the inside of PM. PM looks like he's just outbraked himself ever so slightly, perhaps. Difficult positioning for the defense of that Currently 5th position, but let's face it, the overall lead of the race. Lots of standing water still on the track. The question I think is going to have to be, are these wet tyres or dry tyres on these Metal Moro P3 cars? You would be foolish to take slicks in these conditions, but that's the kind of harebrained strategy that we might expect to see. On the start-finish straight, that's dry. It looks as though the rain has almost stopped, and now we really are getting a dry line through Sector 1. The tyres are not going to be enjoying this one bit as these two fight for position. Does look as though on the pit cycle something has changed. Nessie for the NRT team is running in the lead, with Tex just pressuring the NRT driver, but still side by side. And again, that long right-hander handing the place back to Nessie. Beautifully done. What can happen now? There's that dry line forming. Where is the grip on this drying track? Side by side, they're going to come into the chicane, and it's Tex that comes out the victor in the short term, and Nessie is going to fall behind the SSR car of Dustin as well. So Nessie wasn't not in the fight overall, but absolutely held the leader up there. Dustin also absolutely ready to throw down for that lead fight as well, as the track starts to come to these slick tyres. I think everybody's been through a pit cycle now. Let me just have a quick look. Oh yeah, no, we don't get that information still. That's a shame. Oh, that was a very, very big look up the inside for Nessie there. Fresh out of the pits, just trying to learn where the car is once again. Big look up the inside. Avoided the collision really skillfully, but is now put on the back foot and is falling ever so slightly into the grasp of Dazad, again playing a key role in this race. Meanwhile, Andy Moore fallen back through, and that is, who's that's fallen off? Grandpa Bear. A misdemeanor on the infield there. Has made it a little bit more difficult for himself to reclaim those positions. Now, what is going on at the head of the field? Tex seems to be falling back. That looks like a mistake by Tex there for just a second. This is where the real battle for the lead is. Loz Archer poised to take away points from any of the teams not on their A game tonight. Where is Loz? Yeah, so the AMSU driver absolutely ready to depose Cephalor once again, as we've seen that Cephalor was struggling with the wet conditions, but we're starting to see a very dry track here. The rain has stopped, and all of those lines and paces that you had worked out for before, you're not going to have them to work with anymore. We have a driver, Ade, in the comm box. Do you wish to come and speak to us, Ade? Ade? Names are hard. I apologise. Not to take us away from the breathtaking action on track at the moment. Looks beautiful from the sky. Los Archer looking as though they're able to sit with the SSR car in 4th position, but not making many inroads as far as overall pace is concerned. Same really for Michel Gimeroni behind. Where any other battles that we need to be looking at and thinking of? There's a very close battle over 15th and 16th here, as Texas closed right back in again. They will be around the start-finish straight. That's it. Wonderfully guessed. And I think, as much as we have an also broadcaster, everybody seems to have settled into a bit of a pace. Tex is closing, but is not going to be able to make anything happen on this occasion. But who has the better tyres under them now that the track has started to dry off? Who's got the heat in the tyres and the brakes to burn through the residual moisture that's left on the track to find the grip that's underneath? 19 minutes remaining in this 7th round of the 2024 season of the AMS2 Community Cup. KR Dustin currently leading the race, with Tex for curb clippers hunting him down. More grip, it seems, in the 2nd place car's tyres than the leader. Frano 4 seconds off this battle as they come across the line once again. That is lap down car of Bluefear, perhaps? No, it's even further up than Bluefear, as that is Signal trying to get up Racilla on the marbles on the outside of the track. Gets it all wrong. We'll get the car facing in the right way very easily. But still, in all that time, Tex and Dustin have only got as far as turn 3. A massive challenge for all of these drivers here, trying to find the right way to get around this lap, and in the case of Tex, get around that leading car. Gimeroni and Archer are still attached by a short string, and we need to have a quick look at the roof there, as side by side ahead. This could end in tears. This could be the opportunity that Gimeroni needs. Los Archer gives best for that 4th position and then cuts the nose off of Gimeroni. Let's just sit with this for just a minute. It's going to be a trust exercise from the independent AMSU driver today, but that is all she wrote for that particular attack. Focus forward for Archer then, and try and take a different line as Cephalor once again takes a peculiar double apex through turn 3 and just gives Archer the sniff of a potential position. Gimeroni is also hungry for more points for the team and to try and take that 5th and eventual 4th position off of the driver ahead. Love this perspective, by the way. Absolutely beautiful view. Oh, it was a bit of understeer for Gimeroni. Drops him off the back of this battle. Where are the fights now? It looks as though, yep, side by side for 18th and 19th, Jerry and Chris H. It looks like Chris not able to retain that place. And will have to give best coming out of the final corner as well. Battle at the bottom of the top 10. Nessie for the NRT team with Tom Goodwrench for Noobs Gamers. Working as hard as they can to get points for their team. Los Archers up the inside of Cephalor. Saw that from the splits. Once again has to give best, but it's wide for Cephalor, which comes back to him for the left-hander. But there is not a lot of tyre left on the corners of that SSR car. And Los Archer desperate to impact the championship for the AMSU as best as possible. Trying to take that 4th position from Cephalor. It's going to be made more difficult as they come to the lapped car of... who's that going to be? Roy 33NL, who gets right out of the way of this 4-car train. I absolutely understand, Roy. I absolutely understand. What a view. 4 cars, nose to tail. Clean as you like racing so far. And plenty more to come in the remaining laps. Big wide line from Los Archer, trying to get in the mirrors as Cephalor to put him off. Again, that wide line on exit doesn't really affect the pace of the car overall or the lap time, but just allows Cephalor to safely take that right-hand hairpin. But this is potentially the opportunity. Cephalor's having to use all of the track and a little bit more, trying to desperately to get the speed out. It's going to be a wide line for Michel Gimeroni. The alternatives they always go for. It's a big look up the inside, and side by side out of the final corner, it'll be Los Archer on the inside of Cephalor. Cephalor gets the overspeed having the racing line, but what can Los Archer do? He's got alongside once again, has the inside line. How many times have we seen now that you have to give up the outside? Los Archer has done it. He's broken the curse of Cephalor, and now it opens the floodgates as Michel Gimeroni looks to the inside, and PM also looking to make it almost 3 wide there. Cephalor falling away as he just gets wedged out of the racing line, off of the optimal rubber for the circuit, and it's going to be 3 positions lost in 3 corners. That's absolutely astonishing for the SSR driver. That's so unfortunate. After putting up a stellar defense, it was only one mistake that ended up creating that issue. But now Pete M has gotten 1 position. He wants more. He wants that 5th position from Michel Gimeroni. MVRC are in the fight for this championship. More points will always be more better. What a gorgeously turned out set of liveries up and down the field here. Love the raw carbon fibre look on the MVRC and 10/10ths car tonight. But Pete M, once again, headlights on, trying to get in the head of Michele Gimeroni. We know Gimeroni is able to put up a stout defense, but not this time. There's too much grip, there's too much performance, and it's the slightest of taps. AMS2 does not care about those sorts of taps. You are just going to have to deal with what you get, but my goodness, what an attack from PM there. And now, after working so hard to get that 4th position, what will Los Archer do under pressure once that gap gets cleared away? Signal, meanwhile, on the defensive against Dazads, who has just left the pits. So much fresher rubber for the 10/10ths driver. And lots of opportunity to get that pass made. Let's have a quick look up and down the rest of the timing screens. That's all fairly close as well still, but not enough to look away from this battle. Dazads has all the work to do here. Alpha Signal just has to keep it neat and tidy, keep the tyres underneath them, and hope that they can run down the clock. 10 minutes left to go then, with Dustin leading the way, Tex for Curb Clippers in second, the AMS2 car Frano in 3rd position. Los Archer, running as an independent tonight, is in 4th position, with PM hunting him down in 5th. Michele Gimeroni, the 3rd of the 3 cars that finally was able to find their way past Cephalor, in 7th position. Andy Moore, in a bit of a lonely race at the moment, in 8th position. 9th is Minimus, and 10th, running at your top 10, is Tom Goodwrench for News Gamers. We're looking at the battle over 14th and 15th. Fairly out on their own at the moment, but points are paid all the way down here. There is a distinct need for all the points that can be had to be had by these drivers. Signal here is going to be begging that lap down car to get out of the way. I don't know who that is, but that's all the opportunity that Dazads needs. He's going to make it side by side through the chicane into the hairpin. Who can get the better traction? Looks like Dazads has got the drive. I would suggest that may be a teammate of the 10/10ths driver as they run. It was Blue Fear, the second 10/10ths driver, using the aerodynamic effect to gift Dazads the position. Now, shoe on the other foot. What can Signal do to get that position back? They will come up on their SRGP teammate in the form of Jerry in a few laps' time. But are there a few laps left in this race? That's the question. Meanwhile, once again, Los Archer on the defensive this time from PM. PM does the Los Archer move that we've seen so many times. Not able to pull it off this time. Los Archer doing his absolute best to keep the car alongside around the outside, now into the first of the tight right-handers, and it's a big twitch. Don't know if there was contact there, but both PM and Los disposed of from the track, and all of a sudden Michele Gimeroni for the RRC car was looking at a 7th position, all the way up into 4th now. Great showing for all of a sudden the RRC team. Not going to have the pace of the leaders, but definitely plenty of time yet to put on another great show. Dazad's not pulling away from Signal here, having been gifted the position by his 10/10th teammate. Absolutely the kind of team play that we would expect here. We're running through the infield. It's all fairly comprehensive at the moment. Dazad has enough pace to keep ahead of Signal. See what's happening when we go on board. I'm expecting to see is that gap to the car ahead reduce in the along the straights. Good evening, Karazada. Missing you tonight. Good evening, Kiki. How you doing? Yes, the track is amazing. Looks even better in the new 1.6 version as well. I can't believe I'm saying that. But we're just keeping an eye on 14th and 15th at the moment. Dazad takes a wide line to start and then cuts back in to maintain the speed, and then on the brakes into the first of the right-hand hairpins. Little bit of a four-wheel drift for Dazad ahead. I don't know what's causing those freezes. It's really annoying. It looks as though both the... we lost a driver, that's why. Who was it that we lost there? It was Blue Fear? Yeah, it was Blue Fear in the 10/10s team. That's really unfortunate. But more prizes for the rest of the field. There's Grandpa Bear now hunting down that 12th position from a trained monkey. And yes, that is the name. Give me a second and I'll prove it to you. Trained Monkey for Noobs Gamers. Really, really, really good name there. Grandpa Bear doing their level best to hunt that 12th position. You can see there's very clearly pace in both of these cars, just in different areas of the track. Trained Monkey looking to go a little bit defensive, just keeping the Curb Clippers car in his mirrors. Big, big, wide line for Grandpa Bear here, right around the outside. Keep that minimal speed as high as possible. Can he make the overspeed? No, there's some fantastic traction off of that Noobs Gamers Metal Morrow. And while the aero effect will kick in now and start to give that overspeed for Grandpa Bear, there's not enough speed to be able to do anything with it, and he lifts off very wisely to avoid having any further incident. And we go right back to a wide overhead shot. Los Archer back onto the tail of Cephalor. The RRC car of Michel Gimeroni might be a little bit out of reach with 2.5 minutes to go, but he can get past this SSR car. This could be good points taken away from SSR to assist AMSU in the championship hunt. The approach speed that Loz has got here is just enormous. But here we go, on to the start-finish straight. Cephalor goes defensive. It's going to be... wrong side. There's going to be no need for it, really, through this sector, but maybe a little bit of a lift-off. Get up in the mirrors. Does Los Archer. It's close as you like as they come down in towards turn 3. Another double apex, so maybe that's just the line that that Cephalor prefers on the brakes. Slightly later apex for Archer once again, and then back into the left-hander. Very, very wide for Cephalor. Tyres not quite underneath the car. Maybe a little bit jelly. Maybe they're still running on wets. Maybe they went a little bit too early to dries and have damaged them, which is also a possibility. Good grief. But what is what is Loz Archer going to be able to do with not very much time left in this race? Just where is Dustin on? Do you know what I should do? I'm not going to take us away from this fight. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat. There we go. So with no, with the leader, this is going to be the final lap of the race then. So, only 2.5 kilometres to go then for Loz Archer to try and find a way past Cephalor. He looks to the outside. It's not going to happen there. He has the overspeed once again. Looks right to the outside. It's the only place that Cephalor's going to give him. Sticks it round the outside. He's going to lose out there, but that's a lot of speed to then take into the first braking zone of this track. Flash of the lights. Either that or it's a trick of the lights for the Loz Archer car. And then, Pete M on Minimus as well, or as it was anyway, trying to get that 8th position in the final lap of the race. Meanwhile, KRT Dustin for the SSR team comes to the line. It has been a chaotic race. The pace wasn't there. Beautiful. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Dustin. The pace wasn't there in the early stages of the race, but the weather and the track came to the SSR car, and celebratory donuts for Dustin here. Frano will come home in 3rd. Tex will come home in 4th. Michele Gimeroni in a very safe 4th position in the end. Cephalor was able to defend against Loz Archer in the closing moments, with Andy Moore coming across the line in 7th. Minimus and Pete M will come across the line in flying formation for MVRC. Beautifully done with Nessie for the NRT team, rounding out the top 10. Tom Goodwrench will come home in 11th, with a trained monkey getting across the line in 13th. 14th for Grandpa Bear on his own, but safe nonetheless. Dazads will keep the 14th that he was gifted by his teammate, as well as Alpha Signal comes out of the final corner. Redano will come across the line in 16th, 17th for Racer, Chrissy H for 18th, 19th for Jerry, and Roy 33NL will finish in 20th, with just the one retirement, unfortunately, in the form of Blue Fear in 21st position. So, my goodness, what a finish, what a race. And hopefully we will shortly be joined by some of the drivers from that race. Just have a quick look across the rest of everything. Everything is looking pretty solid now. So, to wrap that up, once again, it was Dustin for the SSR team that took the win in the end, and we have our first man into the com box. There's only one person it can be. It's Dustin for SSR. That was a frenetic race, and what a way to win for the SSR team. Talk us through how that race went for you, Dustin.
First off, I can't believe it at all. My race. I started from P11 because I had 2 big legs in the qualification. So both times I went straight off. And in practice I was in P2. And side note, I had no practice for today at all. So I was happy in the practice to have P2. and I was really pissed in P11 in the qualification.
Yep.
And then I knew, okay, rain. This is my type of weather because in real life I'm also a karting driver professionally, and whenever it rains, I'm the man to go on the track, and I love rain. And I knew, okay, I need to make up as much places as I can at the start, and I just did that. And I was totally surprised that I can compete with Pete and Tex. And at some point, I was even faster, and I thought, I can win this. And from then on, I saw that Tex is a little bit slower than me. So I knew, okay, I just need to do the same thing every damn lap so that I keep it on the black stuff, not like early in the race when I lost P2.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But it was as you say, it was a nightmare condition during the early course of the race. How did you handle that transition from wet to dry? You said that you're a bit of a wet specialist. I totally appreciate that. But that transition, especially with the new update as well, how did you find that, especially in the context of your real life experience?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same because at the start, everyone is probably gonna break a bit too late. I did too at some point. Had a little side contact with someone, I don't know who it was. And just keep it easy on the follow and have a better line as everyone else. That's simply it. And of course, experience because first time in real racing in the rain was, I think it was 12 years ago. 12 or 11 years ago. And every time it rains, I want to drive. And, yeah.
I'm glad it's not just me. Yeah, no, that's one hell of a win, Dustin. And what a classy way to do it as well. Using all the tools that you had at your disposal and fantastic points for SSR as well. Thank you very much for putting on a fantastic show. Hopefully, we'll get to see you in here again sometime soon.
I hope so too. Thank you for streaming again.
No problem at all, mate. No problem at all. I believe it's Frano that we need to have in next. Have a lovely evening, Dustin. I'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you.
I think it's Frano that we need in next because it was... Oh, I've now forgotten the order that they finished in. Good grief. You. Yeah. Feel free to put your hand up. You can request to speak. There we go. That's the one. I was gonna try and use that to my advantage. So I did say during the race that was the thing that I was most shocked about. Frano, fantastic finish for AMSU. You had Loz running as an independent, backing you up in lower half of the top 10. How was that race for you?
Oh man, I'm absolutely tired. Come on. I'm super stoked. The points were super needed. I'm super happy about it. But yeah, qualified P4, and I knew I was gonna be in that group of the top 4 in the rain. I suck at the rain. I'm really bad at it. I never drive on it, and Dustin kind of schooled me on the second corner. But yeah, I kept it consistent. I think I nailed the lap to where to pit, and that's why I passed pit on the lap after.
Yep.
And yeah, kept it consistent, and somebody here bent it on the last corner and gave me P2. So I'm super happy about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it was a case of controlling the pace, making sure that when the dry weather came, did you end up switching onto slicks, or was that wet tires and hope?
No. It was wet tires, and then I switched to slicks.
Yeah.
It did. Once I nailed the guys at MSU helped me nail the strategy because I couldn't finish the shakedown.
Mm-hmm.
and that lap was on it, and I had to be super confident on it to make the undercut on pit.
How were those initial laps out on those slick tires then?
Absolutely horrible. I would not recommend. Super slidey. Yeah, it was super fun as well.
You'd make a lousy karting driver, but I appreciate the sentiment. Ah, man.
Oh, jeez, man.
No, absolutely. Rain is one of those things that you have to be so careful with the car, and you need to really be able to feel the car. It's one of those objective times when having a direct drive wheel actually gives you so much more benefit than any of the other kit that you might have. But really, as you said, really good points for AMSU. Glad to see you guys on the podium again. I think I've had a couple of AMSU drivers on the podiums now, which is fantastic to see. But last round of the championship next 2 weeks time. There we go. McLaren P1s. That's another very difficult, unwieldy, lots of power, throttle control sort of car. How are you thinking that you're going to be able to approach that?
Well, I haven't driven that car as much, but hopefully better. Hopefully I can repeat the result. But we'll see. We'll see.
Fantastic.
Cheers, man, for the broadcast. Thank you.
It's all good. Hopefully you can watch it back and enjoy it as well. I hope that put you on a good enough pedestal. Frano, thank you very much and congratulations on that second place. Have a very good evening, and hopefully I get to speak to you next time.
Cheers, man. Take care.
And last into the com box and third overall, it was a monster of a race for Tex Mechanica from the Curb Clippers team. Perhaps the most up and down race of the drivers that we've spoken to so far. How was the race from yourself, Tex?
I'm so mad.
I can imagine. I can well imagine, mate. How was that for you?
Man. The start. I leave on green, and I see that I'm leaving a fraction earlier than everyone else, and I get a drive-through.
Oh.
Which I got a. I was 100% starting on green, 100%, and it gave me a drive-through. It's so stupid.
Yeah, of course.
So after that, I had to come in, and I came back out of the pits. I think P4. So that lost me a lot of. So I went from P1 to P4 because of the drive-through, and then So then I went. We fight back. I got P1 back because undercut. Undercut was really strong, so I thought Pete was gone, but Pete stayed out too long. So with the undercut, I was back in P1, but I had the wrong pit strategy selected, so that made sure that my tires were like inflated by 0.3 too much. So I came out in P1 still after the pits with Dustin on my ass, and then I made one mistake. Getting on the wet line with dry tires, and then a blue flag, and then I had Dustin in my slipstream. But I think it would not have mattered in the end, because with the wrong pit strategy, he was always going to be faster because my tires were just too slidey and too lock-uppy with 2.2 bar.
Oh, good grief! Yeah.
But I think I would have had enough if the drive-through didn't happen, but the pit strategy didn't help. Then it was really gone. The drive-through was really bad, but when the pit strategy, that just blew it up completely.
Yeah.
And then I gave Frano the P2 in the final corner just out of sympathy, not a mistake at all. I will never say that was an incident.
No, of course.
But good win for Dustin and good PT for Frano. But I have to get that one down for a while, because that's got me a bit mad with the drive.
Yeah, I can imagine. Let's focus on something that's a little bit different, because we've not actually spoken about this as yet. AMS 1.6. How is it? How are you finding it? Is it a good, significant step forwards, or are we?
To me it's glorious, especially in the rain. It was just driving hovercraft before, and we had a soaked track for a while, and it drives really natural and a completely different world from 1.5. In the dry though, it depends on the car. I think some cars were really good, and the difference is really subtle there. So you still feel the car characteristics, but you just feel them better.
Yeah.
But there were a couple of cars that were absolutely shit, and they are now drivable and just normal.
Right.
So depends on the car. Some cars have made a humongous improvement. Some cars a little bit, but overall, I'm loving it.
It's a big improvement.
Way better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Way better.
Yep. Yep. You'll be pleased to know that I have some work to do before we go to the before we get to the next round, or the final round, because they moved all of the UI around when in the monitor, and now no one can see how many minutes or how many laps there are left in the race. So yeah, I've got that's next on my list of things to do.
To be honest, I was happy they did the hotfix, because they with the 1.6 they forgot to put the chat box off setting in the new UI. So I had the chat box on, and I have a single monitor with 40 FOV. So the chat box is just completely blocking left turns when it's showing up. So I'm glad the hotfix showed up before the race, so I could drive without the chat box.
Yeah, I was going to say they've added that to the monitor as well, which is fantastic, because that now I have other places to put stuff at least. So
yeah, exactly.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see what more we can put in place. But hey, it's a really good move forwards. And so next season for the AMS2 Community Cup, they're all going to be wet races then.
Yeah, hell yeah, I'm all for it.
Excellent.
I mean, I'm Dutch, so I can't complain.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have a lovely rest of your evening. Go and have a drink and put this behind you. But hopefully we'll see you next time out in the McLarens, and we can finish on it. We can finish on a high, but a round before the finish on a high.
Exactly. All right.
Have a lovely evening, Tex. Thank you very much, mate. And that is your podiums. So, without too much further to say, I think that was round 7 of the 2024 season of the AMS2 Community Cup. My name has been Ike Sky. You've been watching these 22 fantastic drivers make their way around the classic Ibarra circuit, one that was featured in the 2023 iteration as well, let's not forget. But with all of that said, thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you are in the world. Always remember to be excellent to each other, and we will see you in a couple of weeks for the finale of the 2024 season. My name will be Ike Sky then as well, and I will see you then.